Hello, my fellow Americans. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One. It is Tuesday, December 22nd. The year is 2020. I think it's day 33 of the Oregon lockdown. I might have the day wrong. I'll have to fix it in the comments, possibly. Or I'll fix it in the heading. But over the past couple of days, in fact yesterday, we had a little standoff, a little skirmish at the state capitol in Salem. If you read the news, these right-wing extremist groups tried to storm the Capitol building. But if you read other media, it says that the peaceful protesters entered the building legally, did nothing illegal, and they wound up getting sprayed by the with some kind of pepper spray or something by the Oregon State Police. So what we have here looks like is tyranny. You know, this is the state capitol. Now, state capitol does the business of the state. As far as I know, the state doesn't have access, the governor doesn't have access to nuclear launch codes. That being said, the business of the state should be open to the public. We should be able to watch our leaders conduct business. We elected them, they're supposed to be working for us. So when they lock us out, that's just not good. I mean, they do have things like executive sessions, and I guess there are some businesses, like if it's a personnel matter, you know, between an employee or something, you know, that's usually held behind closed doors. But governing the state should be out in the open. And when it's not out in the open, it's usually because they're doing something that just maybe they shouldn't be doing, or people don't want them to do. So they do it behind closed doors, behind the protection of state police. Well, I guess the Oath Keepers have called for the head of the state police to be removed and basically arrested for failing to keep his oath. Because when they take the oath, it's to the Constitution and not to a person like the governor. So we've got people who I think have been pushed to the brink here. You know, they're discussing what they're going to do because of this COVID lockdown. There's a lot of people, you know, don't agree with this lockdown. You know, some people think we're reckless, we're crazy, because we're not doing what they say. And then the other side says, hey, you know what? You look at the statistics, it's like, I think if you're over 70, you have a 97% chance of recovery. And as you get younger, it's in the 99s. So, on the one hand, it just doesn't seem as bad as what they're portraying it. But, you know, for certain spots, they're running out of hospital beds. Other places, they say they're laying off hospital staff. Once again, they have created an atmosphere. They, being the powers that tax, that's what I like to call them, the PTT, have created an atmosphere of fear and disillusion. Because you don't know what to believe. You don't know who to trust. You don't know where to turn. And that's how they can really control people. They can divide and conquer. Now, as I've stated before, you know, this coronavirus isn't a U.S. problem, it's a world problem, and therefore it deserves a world solution, so we should have a world government. I'm not really that big on conspiracy theories, but I'm just kind of connecting the dots. I'm not telling you what to think, but I'm just putting out something that could happen. Once again, as a prepper, I follow something that I learned from Dr. Edward de Bono in his thinking course. You have to consider all possibilities. You know, a couple of years ago, if you told people they're going to run out of toilet paper, not here, it's not going to happen. You know, if you told people about other things, oh no, not here, it's not going to happen. You know, a couple of years ago, if you would have told people, yeah, the elections, there's going to be possible election fraud and rigging. No, 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 this is the U.S. We have honest elections. That can't happen here. So, we've got so many things going on right now in this country that it's almost a perfect storm for something big to ignite. And we talked about it. We had a prepper meeting over the weekend here at Southwestern Oregon Preppers. And I went to a meeting of some citizens of Bandon last Friday night, business owners, people who are basically fed up with the situation. And I asked them point blank, because they had stated that, you know, somebody said something about the Second Amendment. It's like, oh no, we don't want to go there. I go, well, you know, and some people are afraid to stand up and speak out because, you know, they could get their license for operating their business pulled. They could get fined, this, that, and the other. But it's almost like, what would you prefer? A slow death? Death by attrition? Little by little? Or quick death? So it's almost getting to that point where if we let the powers that tax continue along the way they're going, it's just slow death where nobody can make a living. We're all dependent upon the government. We become we become from a superpower to a third world, you know, crap hole. Or maybe, you know, we have something like occurred in 1776, and we emerge anew and better. But I really don't see that happening, only because the lines aren't clearly marked. We're not. This isn't a geographic divide per se. I mean, here in Oregon, we got 36 counties and 29 are red. But inside, like here, where I am right now, this is red. If I go into town, it becomes blue, you know. And the whole state is blue here in Oregon. So it's just not easy. And what I see as a possibility is just small towns, small communities, small counties just, you know, say, no, Governor, we're not doing this. And they basically, the citizens band together and do what's necessary to continue life as they want it, as opposed to how they're being dictated to by a tyrant. So, and when I use the word tyrant, if you're an elected official and you're not following the Constitution of the state, of the country, or if you're an organization and you're not following its bylaws, you're a tyrant. Plain and simple. And you need to be dealt with accordingly. So, what can you do? What I'm going to do, and what I'm telling people they should really think about in the short term, say 3 to 6 month horizon, make sure you've got enough food. I know that might sound kind of peculiar, but we've had some really bad weather this year in the breadbasket. You know, and because of COVID, trucks weren't moving, meat processing plants weren't processing, you know, crops weren't being picked. I mean, so it would behoove you to have somewhere between 3 and 6 months worth of food. You know, I always kid about the rice and beans, you know, a 25-pound bag of rice and 25-pound bag of beans, that's like about a month worth for a person like me. And, you know, if you get tired of eating rice and beans, well, then the next night or next day you have beans and rice. It's just a prepper joke, right? But the thing is, the serious part is just make sure you have food on hand. Because you don't know what's going to happen. there could be something where if you don't have the vaccine, you can't go shopping. Maybe you want to take the vaccine, maybe you don't. But who knows when they put that measure in, you might want to have enough food where you can outlast it. Who knows, it might be forever. You might want to start developing a supply network so you might not have to be dependent upon the normal supply of food, you know. Start growing a garden or something. But it is time that you have to take control of what you can take control of. Other things, they're outside your control. So, you know, it's a stoic approach. It's a preparedness, prepper type approach that I'm proposing. And it's just common sense. You know, have the things that you need on hand and have them in larger supply than normal. Make sure things that you consume, like toilet paper, you've got enough. You know, kid about it a lot, but, you know, when the stuff hits the fan, you're going to need something to clean with, right? And, you know, as far as soap and things like that, just anything you use on a regular, recurring basis that you consume and you have to replenish, you know, start stocking up the shelves. But I know it could be tough. You might be one of those where the governor here is taking away your livelihood and you don't have any money. But I guess they're going to send us a $600 stimulus check, and hopefully you use it wisely. But come the end of the year, landlords are going to want their rent. The moratorium, I think, is going to be up. I know the governor extended the lockdown till March. So we've got the rest of December, all of January, all of February, unless she changes her mind or unless somehow we change governors. So we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. But no matter what happens, I just want you to remember one thing. If you fail to prepare, then you're preparing to fail.